All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, if you're a sports reporter in the New York area, then the Brooklyn Nets are your best friend because they are consistently going to give you material to run with. Now, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, the superstar duo that a couple of years ago, and of course, these are Kyrie's words, that they didn't need a head coach following the team's hire of Steve Nash, somebody who they wanted. And we've seen them since then hang Steve Nash out to dry. And it resulted with the former NBA MVP getting his walking papers yesterday. I know that Sean Marks, the Nets general manager, came out and said it was mutual. I'm not buying that, my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, Nash got his walking papers, and KD and Kyrie basically sent Steve Nash out of town, out of Brooklyn on the first thing smoking. Now, Steve Nash, in my opinion, was a beaten man from the word go with the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving never respected Nash. You go back again to his comment about not needing a head coach. The alleged criticism of Nash being named the NBA's MVP during his playing days over the late, great Kobe Bryant. But at the end of the day, it's easy to put the blame for this Brooklyn Nets debacle on Steve Nash. But I'm not going to do that because there's plenty of blame, in my opinion, to go around to a lot of people. For me, when is Sean Marks going to be held accountable for the train wreck that is the Brooklyn Nets? I mean, he's been running this front office since 2016, and he's put this calamity of errors together, aside from signing KD and Kyrie in free agency, also the trade to get James Harden from the Houston Rockets, that didn't work out. Then you package Harden to the 76ers to bring in Ben Simmons, and so far that hasn't worked out. And in the process, we've seen the Nets mortgage their future between players and draft picks and players who have gone on to be successful with other NBA teams since they left Brooklyn. Now, just like I said, getting back to Nash, a couple of years ago, it's to me, I was never a fan of him getting the job. You're talking about a guy who didn't have any previous head coaching experience, no previous experience in the NBA as an assistant, and you wanted him to go out there and lead this team. Good luck. And honestly, the proof is in the pudding as far as what the Nets were unable to do on Steve Nash's watch. I mean, if you were going to bring in Steve Nash to be the starting point guard for this team in his heyday, different story. But that's not the case right here. Um, to me, you look at this, and I talked about Sean Marks, but also Joe Tsai, the team's owner. I mean, the thing is like I feel like he's developed, an environment around this franchise that, is too player friendly. And honestly, the proof is in the pudding because you have superstars that don't respect their head coaches. Because remember, several years ago, in less than a year with the Nets, KD and Kyrie ran off Kenny Atkinson, who was building a foundation with the Brooklyn Nets. They simply ran him off. You know, there's no accountability from Kevin Durant, and I know some people are going to agree with me and some people are not. But at the end of the day, as good as Kevin Durant is as a scorer, one of the best who has ever done it in NBA history, he's not a leader, and neither is Kyrie. And if you look at this Brooklyn Nets team, they don't have any leadership whatsoever. It's a whole bunch of guys playing for themselves. And when I watch the Brooklyn Nets play, it's like watching, you know, going back to anybody's collegiate days or anybody as far as playing intramural ball or anybody's days or playing, open court, running up and down at the playgrounds wherever when guys are running a full. You got 10 guys on the court or 5 guys on the court in the case of the Nets going for themselves. As soon as they get the ball, they're gunning. There's no cohesiveness. They don't talk defensively. And at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding as this team is 2-6. And I know they're going to try to save and salvage their season But honestly, I'm not sure, even at this early stage of the game, if the Nets season this year is indeed salvageable. When the Nets came to Brooklyn about 10 years ago, they wanted to rule the back pages of the New York papers and take that fame away from the New York Knicks. Well, guess what? They've done it, but at the end of the day, it's not something that they really want to be proud of with this organization. You think about the Imi Udoka factor because the reports are that he is in line to be the next head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, and I think it's only fitting that the Nets go out there and hire a head coach who is currently suspended by the Boston Celtics for improper behavior, in spite of the fact that he just helped the Celtics reach the NBA Finals last season. So that lets you know how the Celtics feel about Udoka after the things that he helped the franchise accomplish. But in their eyes, he tore that down and they have suspended him. They're also giving him the green light to go out there and find another job. And from the reports that I'm hearing, they're not even seeking draft compensation in return for the Brooklyn Nets. So, what does that tell you about how the Boston Celtics feel about Emi Udoka? And now this is the guy that the Nets want to go out there and be the head coach of their organization. At the end of the day, the Nets are a joke. They have been a joke, and they will continue to be a joke. In regards to Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers that the NBA has ever seen. A two-time NBA champion, but he's going to have to deal with the fact that there's a large contention, and it's going to keep growing as far as people that feel that he bandwagoned with the Golden State Warriors to get those championships. KD thought he could come to Brooklyn and replicate the success that he had in the Bay Area with the Warriors, but guess what? Winning a championship is not easy. I feel like he's probably found that out the hard way now. And honestly, I don't see any scenario where Kevin Durant gets even close to once again tasting NBA gold. Kyrie Irving couldn't stand being in the shadow of LeBron with the Cleveland Cavaliers, went to the Celtics, it didn't work out. Come to the Nets, it has not worked out either. And at the end of the day, this duo has brought more frustration than success during their tenure with the Brooklyn Nets. You think about the time that they've had together, a lot of injuries, a lot of off the court stuff, and at the end of the day, all that the Nets have to show for it, for all of their shuffling as far as trading players, giving these guys max deals, you name it, all they have to show for it is one series win in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? And in my opinion, no. So I just look at this team. They're going to try to bring in Udoka. It doesn't matter who they bring in right now. There's no leadership on this team. There's no leadership within this organization. I feel like Sean Marks at first was building something solid. He sacrificed that relationship with Kenny Atkinson in favor of superstar players, but he sacrificed that relationship with Kenny Atkinson in favor of selfish superstar players. And when you have selfish players at the top of your organization, it's going to hinder your chances to win. Just look at the Brooklyn Nets right now. The Nets are a train wreck. They're a clown show, a circus, any adjective that you want to use to describe futility. That's what the Brooklyn Nets are. That's what they've been in the past. And that is what they will continue to be. My opinion, some people might agree with it. Some people might disagree with it. It's all good. But at the end of the day, KD and Kyrie aren't winning a doggone thing in Brooklyn with the Nets. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.